Mr. Markey, 5 minutes for an opening statement, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. I want to begin by disagreeing in the strongest possible terms with what Mr. Barton said in his opening statement. Not only is the compensation fund that was created yesterday at the White House in an agreement reached between BP and President Obama not a slush fund and not a shakedown. Rather, it was the government of the United States working to protect the most vulnerable citizens that we have in our country right now, the residents of the Gulf. It is BP's spill, but it is America's ocean, and it is American citizens who are being harmed. We cannot wait, as unfortunately so many citizens who were victims of the Exxon Valdez spill had to wait years in order to see those families compensated. We can't lose sight of the fact that the 1984 Bhopal disaster and the lawsuits that were related to it were only settled last week. We have to ensure that the citizens of the Gulf are protected. In a hearing which this subcommittee conducted in New Orleans last Monday, we heard from a fisherman who brought absolutely impeccable records which proved that he and his family had made $27,000 last May. And after examining the documents, BP gave the family $5,000. The families in the Gulf will be crushed financially unless this compensation fund is put into place. As each day and week and month goes by, the history of these families are going to be altered and permanently altered unless they are given the financial capacity to take care of their loved ones, their children, their families. That's why this compensation fund is so important. That's why it is not a slush fund. That is why it is not a shakedown. It is, in fact, President Obama ensuring that a company which has despoiled the waters of our nation is made accountable for the harm which is done to our people. A company which said for the first week that it was only 1,000 barrels of oil per day when we now know that they knew it was at least 1,000 to 14,000 barrels. A company which continues to deny that there are underwater toxic plumes. A company which has not been providing the proper protective gear for the workers in the Gulf. A company which contended it could respond to a spill of 250,000 barrels per day. No, this is not a shakedown of the company. This is the American government, President Obama, ensuring that this company is made accountable and sending a signal to all other companies that seek to treat ordinary American families in a way that can destroy their entire family's history. This is, in my opinion, the American government working at its best. This is creating truly the kind of partnership between the public and private sector that can make sure that innocent victims are not roadkill as a result of corporate plans that did not actually factor in the harm that can occur to ordinary families. So I just could not disagree more strongly. I think that this is In my opinion, one of the most important hearings that this Congress will ever have, because it is sending a signal to any corporations out there, including the ones that testified on Tuesday that all admitted that they had no plans either to respond to the harm which could be done in the Gulf if one of their rigs had the same kind of catastrophic event, that they will be made accountable. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing, and I thank you, Mr. Hayward, because yesterday was the day where the page began to be turned, and we moved to a new era where, in fact, your company is made accountable and the citizens of the Gulf are made whole. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Markey.